Didn't know that you were lonely.
It's been half a decade ever since the beloved rise of FKA Twigs and her atmospheric brand of glitch pop that everybody called R&B for some reason. Her voice was whisper soft, and the instrumentals sounded like they were simulating the feeling of being trapped in a large vat of clear jelly, with a large blinding spotlight shining through it. As far as quiet omens of gluttonous indulgence go, it's hard to get much better than the humming sound of my refrigerator at midnight, but Twigs' album from 2014, LP1, certainly comes close. Unfortunately, 5 years later, Magdalene isn't another enriched and smooth-sailing jamboree. In fact, it sounds like it's falling, or has already fallen apart most of the time. Or at points, it sounds like it's rebuilding, and then it will all disappear in a flash like a frozen pizza in an eel pond. This is because Magdalene is a breakup album, one that addresses the crippling pain of separation, but also uses this as an opportunity to explore the importance of independence, and as a whole, womanhood. On the title track, we hear about Mary Magdalene, from that one little-known book known as the Bible. Along the trail of history, our perception of Magdalene has been soured by constant misreadings and misogynistic judgments that define Magdalene's supposedly sinful existence in relation to Jesus Christ only. Twigs' deconstruction of this story seems like a parallel to her own womanhood and independence, subtly asking that her worth is attributed to her and her alone. Of course, emotionally separating yourself from somebody that you've grown a serious connection to is a bit different, vastly different. The album is about that struggle to find independence again. A magical characteristic of FKA Twigs' music here is that it will mutate and brighten and intensify, and then abruptly cut to silence again, as if it was all some sort of hallucination. You don't know which parts of it are real or not. Magdalene sounds grotesque and surreal as well. The opener Thousand Eyes sounds like it's setting the scene at the bottom of a cold, grotty well, as Twigs' voice echoes around the chamber to answer itself when nobody else will yet. Right out of the gate, the fourth wall is shattered as Twigs acknowledges the thousand eyes that are watching her suffer and attempt to overcome that scrutiny. Spaciously placed sounds evoke the feeling of those eyes awakening, and its skin-crawling, grotesque, fleshy, organic feeling that carries on throughout the record, as if Twigs is walking on floors of pulsing meat, or holding a microphone made of esophagus. Despite this surgical evocation, the music flourishes on a less is more standard, which is a bit ironic given the album's concept. The album's few moments of musical indulgence are well spaced, only in brief, gruesome flashes like the fluttering garden lush end of Home With You, which isn't that gruesome actually, but it's certainly heart-wrenching in retrospect because it sounds artificial, like the music for a love-struck paradise that Twigs reckons that she could be living in, but can't, because she's not. And even the fabled quote-unquote pop song with Future on this album feels like a natural part of the album's flow, very cold and evoking that sense of being lost, searching for some direction, which weirdly Future manages to croon his way through and sound genuinely beautiful for a change. Okay, but the actual gruesome moment on Magdalene is heard when Fallen Alien signals her determination to escape the world of Satan and find some light or a ladder. Screeching choirs are heard like nightmarish hallucinations, and during the bridge, it all flashes away like the lights have been turned out, and Twigs sings a bare melody in a way that sounded like a dead ringer for Beth Gibbons, which is the only other female artist I thought of while listening to Magdalene. But to be honest, I was really impressed by this one. Magdalene has no shortage of moments that make my skin crawl, or even make me feel like my skin melts. Yes, some of the sound design here legitimately sounds like my skin is melting off my body. Whatever a pretty picture is painted on the finale track Cellophane, all seems to dissolve, or like the floor is sinking downwards. And of course it happens when Twigs sings the title phrase that implies that nothing can be hidden.
All wrapped in cellophane, the feelings that we had.
It took me a while to realise just why Cellophane, and perhaps a large amount of the album, was turning my stomach most of the time, and in a very powerful way, and it's because of her voice. Twigs' voice has always been a soft quiver, but has it ever been in such a state of fragility that it keeps breaking whenever it tries to reach for those high notes? The album sounds fucking hurt. It sounds like fragments are falling away from it, and whatever obtuse musical barrier that Twigs had on LP1 to keep her music mysterious and alien-like is in ruins, and now we're watching her human soul exposed. Whatever it's been covered in is see-through, like cellophane.